Hello and welcome to this edition of Arlington Public News. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Brenda Mahoney, in for Michelle Marino. In Arlington Public News, we bring you stories of interest to Arlington and surrounding communities. In tonight's newscast, we learn about the history of the Regent Theater. We see Transformer boxes changed into works of art. And we take the front seat in an Arlington police cruiser.
Plus, a visit from a former APN intern who shares his travel stories. That and more coming up next. Please stay with us.
We begin this newscast by taking a moment to honor a longtime Arlington baseball coach. James Robillard, known fondly as Robes, passed away July 6th. Robes had been a figure in the Arlington Babe Ruth Baseball League for 5 decades. APN News intern Carrie Bresnan has more on the lasting impact Robillard has left on Arlington's youngsters.
James Robillard was a beloved baseball coach for 55 years and president of the Arlington Babe Ruth Baseball League. His impact on the baseball program, the town, and all of the kids who were able to play Babe Ruth baseball under his guidance will forever be remembered.
I have to tell you, he's the most wonderful person I think I've ever really known. His volunteerism for the town of Arlington and the youth of the community was second to none.
Jim's special is the way he interacts with everyone. Kids, people, 47 years old and still have fond memories of Jim.
During his time with the league, Jim helped transform the Arlington baseball program so that any kid could play at his or her level, and he coached his team to the World Series 5 times. Jim was also instrumental in getting lights installed at the Summer Street Field in Arlington. In November 2014, Robillard was inducted into the Babe Ruth Hall of Fame for his dedication and contributions to the program. And as a tribute to his work, the Board of Selectmen approved the renaming of the Summer Street Field in his honor. The field was originally to be dedicated on June 28th, but the event was postponed because of Robillard's illness.
It was a great honor to be a part of getting Summer Street Field to be called James Robillard Field, trying to improve that field to bring a quality, top-notch baseball facility to Arlington where teams can be proud to go in, make it their home, and to name it after Jim was probably one of the greatest things this town has done, in my opinion.
Robes worked at Boyle's Market for much of his life and also served on the Parks and Recreation Commission to make sure that baseball's voice was heard.
It was really a pleasure knowing Jim, and I think the naming of the field, the Jim Robillard Park, couldn't be more appropriate.
On behalf of the friends and family of James Robillard, for Arlington Public News, I'm Carrie Bresnan.
Arlington has just received a $240,000 Green Communities grant from the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources. This is the 4th such grant since 2010, when Arlington was first designated a green community. Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine states, "I am proud that Arlington continues to be a leader on a sustainable initiative in the Commonwealth. As with previous awards, the newest grant will be used to fund innovative energy efficiency projects throughout the town."
Arlington has a new library director. Andrea Nicolai has officially taken on the role after 2 distinguished years as the assistant director. The APN Book Club spoke with Nicolai about her past experience, what she enjoys about working in the Arlington community, and her long-term goals for the library.
Hello and welcome. I am here today with our new library director, Andrea Nicolai. And we at APN, at the APN Book Club, just like the rest of Arlington, we're very happy to hear about her selection as our new library director, and we're delighted to be able to bring you this interview today to talk to Andrea about her experience so far and what she sees coming up in the future. Tell the audience a little bit about what your previous experience in libraries has been.
Sure. So I came to Arlington from the big city. I worked in New York City for the New York Public Library from 2006 to 2012 when I moved up here for the assistant director and head of adult services job.
Can you tell us a little bit about what makes Arlington different from, New York City and other places?
Arlington is an exciting place to be a librarian because of the incredible support and enthusiasm that a lot of Arlingtonians feel for the library and the potential that is in Arlington for future library supporters.
How do you see the transition working from the Livergood regime to the Nicolai regime here?
I learned a great deal from Ryan, and I think that one of the most valuable things I learned from him as a mentor to mentee kind of situation was that he's open to new things, and he's open to trying out unexpected things in the library. A great example of his legacy sort of continuing. He got the ball rolling for the beehives, which now live on the third floor balcony.
We were also curious to hear what Andrea's plans are for the future of the library.
I think that, if there's anything I'm excited about, it's changing and adapting the actual physical spaces to better serve the areas that we serve. So whether that be the Fox or the Robins, changing the space so that it is a flexible and inviting space so that people want to come in and hang out.
Well, I just wanted to thank you very much for taking a few minutes out of yet another busy day to talk with us and to give us a sense of what the library is likely to look like with Andrea Nicolai in charge. For Arlington Public News and the APN Book Club, I'm James Milan with Andrea Nicolai. Thanks for joining us.
When it comes to finding a performing arts center with quality entertainment at an affordable price, you don't need to look very far. The Regent Theater in Arlington Center offers top-rated shows at a historic venue. Producer Yawa Degboe gives us an inside look in Arlington After 8.
Welcome to After 8, a series where we check out what there is to do around town after dark.
Hello, come on in.
The Regent Theater has been in this location on Medford Street in Arlington Center for almost 100 years. Co-owner Leland Stein told us that the theater will be celebrating its centennial anniversary next year.
It's been pretty much in use ever since its start of various forms of entertainment. It started as a vaudeville theater with live entertainment. It was a silent movie house. It was a talkies movie house when sound came into the pictures, and before we took over in 2001, it was the Bombay Cinema, showing exclusively Bollywood films.
Leland Stein turns the Regent Theater into a unique venue which hosts local as well as international artists, film festival, community fundraising events, and children's musical. Such a variety of shows that anyone can find entertainment they like in this iconic theater.
The theater is a great theater. I've never seen a bad show here.
We return to the Regent Theater later at night for a fundraising concert in support of residents affected by a recent fire at Brookside Condominium. An eclectic lineup of artists from Arlington entertains the crowd.
You can live on pie and whiskey, but you surely won't live too long. Take another name forever, take you to what you love.
Be your sous chef, baby, and I preheat your oven every night.
Audience members like Arlington Selectman Joe Kuro point out that you don't have to go to Boston to see high-quality shows.
They do so much for so many sectors of our community and bring in, cultural events that you really, so often you'd have to travel into Boston or somewhere else to see.
I'm not done. I like this crowd.
For the Regent Theater and Arlington Public News, this is Yawa Degboe.
Brenda, I remember when the Regent Theater a couple decades ago was just a movie theater only, so it's really great to see that it survives even bigger and better than ever.
All right, a real variety of shows there in 100 years, so more to come.
Absolutely.
As you travel around Arlington, keep your eyes peeled for new colors on the town's transformer boxes. The Beautification Project calls for imaginative paintings from local artists, which transform the plain utility boxes into creative canvases. News producer Kwong Milligan brings us the story of a mother and daughter designer duo.
Hi, I'm Kwong from APN here at Paul Revere Road, watching people paint for the Arlington Transformer Box Project. and I'm here with two members of the Arlington Art Project.
This is the Beautifying Arlington project, where we're painting transformer boxes, and it was a competition, and I think we're the only mother-daughter team. Well, last February I saw the call for art when I went to the Arlington Center for the Arts, and I thought, wow, there's so much snow. It sounds like so much fun if we were to be able to paint a box in summertime. So Maria was in school at the time. She went to Mass College of Art, and she just graduated. So this is her first sort of postgraduate project. And so we made the application, and we had to submit 3 designs. And this is actually one of the designs that Maria made, and that was the one that they chose. There were 7 different locations around this part of Arlington, and this was the place that we were assigned: Paul Revere Road and Park Ave.
Yeah.
So
the theme for this year was patterns. So we decided to do like patterns of things you find on the road. So we have like some flowers, some leaves, some footprints, kind of just like patterns of everyday life and everyday kind of motion. Some like flowers, some bumblebees, some ants, all that good natural stuff.
We were told we are allowed to adapt the design slightly to the place. And so we've decided, since Paul Revere rode on his horse by here, we'll probably put a horseshoe somewhere on the box. But otherwise, the design is pretty much the one that Maria came up with. So this is in progress. We have, there'll be some ants, and there'll be a couple of pine cones and some bumblebees at the bottom. And then there's an ant trail that's going to go all around. And it's really funny because since we've been working on this box, every once in a while there will be ants crawling all over it. There's a project that helps to fund this project, and that's the Chairful Where You Sit project. So we have a chair that we've been painting as well. So that will enter for this year's Chairful When You Sit project, which will be in July. July 10th is when it will begin. So if someone wants a part of our artwork and they can take it home, then they can buy the chair.
Wow.
And that will help fund future projects like this.
I'm Quan from APN at Paul Revere Road. Thanks for watching.
Recently, APN had a chance to talk with award-winning documentary film composer John Cusack. We learned about his work with Boston's artistic community and how he approaches the creative process.
John Cusack is one of the foremost composers in the world of documentary film. He composes for and with local artists in and around the Boston area. We got a chance to sit down with the composer to discuss the recent success he's had with HBO's The Jinx, his work with Boston's documentary film community, and just how he manages to get the juices flowing in the creative process.
Boston is really a strong place for documentary film because of, Errol Morris, of course, but, WGBH, there's Nova, American Experience, American Masters, a lot of that stuff gets produced right here. And then beyond that, there's independent documentary work that is going on. I work closely with Andrew Willis, who is a local composer. He used to live in Arlington, but he no longer lives here. He lives in Medford, but that's pretty close. And he and I have been working together since 1999. He does his own work, and then we work on projects together. So we've done American Experiences as co-composers.
You also collaborated with other composers on The Jinx. What was that like?
Yes, that was tricky because the other composer was in New York. That, as I just described with Andrew, we've spent, that's like, is that 16 years or something that we've been working together. So, the longer that you work with someone, you can develop a working relationship. But this was being thrown right into someone right off the bat. So, that's a little harder. But overall, it came together, and I think was successful.
So to even begin this road to success, it all has to start somewhere. John now gives us an inside look at his process and just where he starts to come up with his compositions.
Yeah, when I get started, it's usually a phone call, and then, or even these days it's like an email or something, and but the process begins usually with documentary films. It can be early in the process, so people will contact me before they even have a rough cut. They might just have scenes and maybe dailies, that they've been shooting, and they'll show that to me and maybe discuss what they're thinking about for the score. You know, the type of music. You know, it depends, of course, on the subject matter. Well, often, even if I have the footage, I'll just put it on, you know, on my screen and let it play. And I'll sit at the keyboard and just improvise, almost unconsciously, just kind of letting it roll and seeing how I feel about it. And I'll just record everything that I do, and you know, spend several hours doing that, and then come back later and listen to what I've done and see if any little piece sort of strikes me as having potential for development.
Have you ever wondered what a typical day is like for an Arlington police officer? Well, APN had the chance to accompany 2 different officers on their daily and nightly shifts. They share with us the stresses and satisfactions of the job as they respond to calls and interact with the community.
Over the next few hours, we'll do a ride along where we'll be assigned to a traffic patrol car.
The car behind him is speeding. Best job in the world.
Well, that was just a little snippet there. To see the full ride-along, tune into ACMi's public channel on Saturday, July 11th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or Monday, July 12th at 10 at night. And, you know, really, Paul, under the leadership of Chief Frederick Ryan, there's a real approach to community policing as well.
Yeah, and their motto is proactive and proud, and that they are. Brightview has recently opened a private senior living facility in Arlington to provide care to the growing elder population in the area. News producer Eve Liu learns what current residents enjoy about the center's activities and care.
I'm Eve Liu here at Brightview Arlington with its community sales director, Elizabeth Matei. Elizabeth, thank you so much for talking with us today.
And thanks for stopping by.
Could you please tell us a little bit about Brightview?
So Brightview Arlington is a brand new senior living community. Well, being a privately held company, the partners that manage us are very involved in the day-to-day operations of everything we do here at Brightview Arlington. and they really emphasize a team approach to the care and services that we provide to our residents.
I've heard that you have an award-winning initiative called SPICE. Could you please tell us about that?
Sure. So SPICE is an acronym that we use, and it talks about the 5 dimensions of wellness. So it stands for spiritual, physical, intellectual, cultural, and emotional. And we use that terminology when we're thinking about our activity calendar and the programs that we're setting out for our residents. We want to make sure that there's something here for everyone to enjoy.
How does it feel to live here in Brightview?
Exactly what the doctor ordered. Rest, relaxation, wonderful people around you, and the surroundings are so peaceful. You don't have to cook. You don't have to shop, you don't have to clean. All the services are here for you.
I find it's a wonderful place to be. It's very satisfying. They treat it like a home. And we're all like one big family here.
It feels great. I really like it. I really like it.
We have movies if you would like to attend the movies. There's a cafe here, there's a happy hour every day at 3 o'clock. So I think all that adds to the pleasure and contentment of each resident.
Are there any other activities you take part in?
Bingo.
Bingo?
Bingo with money, yeah. Nickels, not dollars.
According to the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, the monthly fee for assisted living is typically $3,000 or more. In Arlington, 23% of the total population are over 60 years old. With approximately 9,400 seniors in Arlington, there are several living options. Some are private and some accept third-party assistance. For more information on the options available and to help you find what's right for you, please contact Elder Affairs or the Arlington Council on Aging. So what advice would you give to families who are considering assisted living?
I think first and foremost, you have to get out there and look. It's free to look, and assisted living communities have really come a long way in the past few years. As Brightview Arlington is brand new, we have amazing technology and beautiful aesthetics. And it's important for seniors to get out and look too, so that they really have a better understanding of what assisted living communities are, what senior living communities are.
If you or someone in your family is considering alternative living options, the first step is to go out, see what's available, ask questions, and be well informed before making a decision. From APN News, I'm Eve Liu.
APN has had the opportunity to work with a variety of interns and volunteers throughout the Boston area, and one former APN intern, Aaron Walk, returned to the studio to share his adventures while backpacking across South America in the 6 months following his graduation from Tufts University.
Hello everyone, I'm James Milan with Arlington Public News. For those of you who have been watching Arlington Public News newscast for a while, and we know you're out there, you may be familiar with the name of my guest today, Aaron Walk. Aaron was one of our prize interns up till he left us in May of 2014. He spent most of his last months while a student at Tufts interning here at Arlington Public News. And then he went off on an adventure, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So Aaron, thanks so much for coming on in.
Thanks for having me, James.
It's a real pleasure to see you again.
It's all mine.
Explain to our audience, where have you been for the last number of months and what have you been up to?
For 6 months, from June of 2014 to December of 2014, I was backpacking solo through South America, from Uruguay on the Atlantic coast towards the south to Ecuador on the Pacific coast up in the northern corner.
What brought about, though, the idea? Had it been long in gestation for you, this idea of heading off on a solo adventure of this sort? Or?
For a couple of years beforehand, I had the idea of, you know, when I'm done with college, I'm not going to be completely ready to enter the job force, and that's a special time right afterwards where people my age who have the opportunity to take some time for themselves can go do something like what I did and, you know, not harm themselves too much in the job market or not, you know, come back too late. Mm-hmm. So I figured, you know, why not? It's one of those things that I didn't know exactly why I was doing it and when I was doing it, but it just felt right. And looking back, I don't regret a thing.
What are some of the notable things that either happened to you or that you took part in?
Well, I got lucky, actually, because although I didn't get to go to Brazil for the World Cup, I was in Argentina when they played in the finals. And needless to say, that was a bit of a riot. In multiple senses of the word. So that was something that I'm probably never going to be able to see again. That was really cool. Even though they lost, they went crazy. And there were a few just sites naturally that were phenomenal. And some of them are world famous, like the salt flats in Bolivia, where you can see essentially for miles around of just plain salt surface. That's incredible. And I'd say the highlight of the trip in total would have been going to the Amazon. It's just so vast. The river, you can read as much as you want about it. You can see it on television. But once you're swimming in it, it looks a lot bigger than it does on a screen.
So anything surprising on the negative side?
I'd say the most difficult surprise would be just that extended period of time by yourself, traveling constantly. I didn't think about it beforehand and think it would be very difficult, but after months of not necessarily having the most contact with people that you're familiar with, it gets a little difficult.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. For Arlington Public News, I'm James Milan.
Thank you for joining us this week to discuss local events and issues around Arlington. Check out our latest segments on the web at news.acmi.tv.
And join us next time for another edition of Arlington Public News. I'm Brenda Mahoney.
And I'm Paul Werland. See you next time.